Illegal elbow.
Elbow techniques.
This is the elbow.
An elbow from here. I'll throw the elbow.
Yeah, the illegal elbow.
Welcome back, just like that!
Hey, welcome to Illegal Elbow MMA and more. This is Brian from LegalElbow.com and Illegal Elbow on Twitter.
And this is Dan from MMA Aftermath on Facebook and Twitter.
You know what? I really gotta give a big hats off to Francisco Trinaldo. The guy did a great job in the fight. You know what I mean? We've seen him fight a dozen times, man. He's been in UFC for a long time. Big hats off to the guy. Gets a win over Chad LaFreeze. TKO punches in the first round, man. I gotta hand the guy a lot of respect. 18-4 at this point, you know, and like I said, man, he's been in UFC since 2012, and he's fought, we're talking 11 times. And that's great. That's fantastic. Man, we're talking 7-3, 10 times. Okay, well, 10. Sorry, my math is fucked up. Okay, he's 8-3. Sorry about that, people. He's 8-3, 11 fights in the UFC since 2012. That's a nice career. That's a nice resume since being in UFC. So that's big time.
Very active.
Yeah, very active and looks really good. And there's a lot of it that I overlooked. I will say that, man. And that's my fault because this guy's, you know, that's a great resume inside the UFC. 18-4 altogether. So outside of this fight, coming out and having his post-fight interview after beating Chad LaFreeze, you know, a tough up-and-comer, undefeated. But now he's 10-1 now because he got beat by Francisco. Francisco says, he calls out his mom. He says, I've never had a birthday party, but Mom, I wanted to let you know, let's have a huge birthday party. Tomorrow is my 37th birthday. So let's have a huge birthday party for all the kids in my neighborhood that never had a birthday party like I have. He's like, I've never had a huge birthday party. Let's have one for all those kids that were.
Damn, hats off, man.
You know, and they were never able to have that huge birthday party like other people have. And he said, Mom, I will pay for it all. We'll have a birthday party for all those kids.
Hear that, kids down in Brazil? It's cake and ice cream time.
It is. That's a big night, man. That's a big night. And a big hats off to a big-hearted fellow, dude, in Francisco Trinaldo. Big hats off, many props. I'm going to give him some huge respect on Twitter. And you guys should too, man. Pay this guy some respects. So.
Oh, yeah. And you know who else we should pay respects to is our friends over in New Jersey. You know, like we were talking.
You know, it's funny you say that too, because I want to point this out real quick. The other show we did the other day, man, I said Hackettsville. And it's Hackettstown, New Jersey. So I slapped myself in the head once I heard that. So sorry about that, people. Hackettstown, New Jersey is one of our top cities, man. So we appreciate it. But I wanted to point that out. I thought it was kind of funny. Little correction there.
And all the new people that have been liking the new page that we have up, the new fan page, Illegal Elbow MMA and More podcast. We've been getting a lot of likes recently. We'd like to thank you guys for that.
Big time, dude. We're almost at 100, man. It's getting close to 100 now.
Hell yeah!
So that's, you know, we're barely a couple days in. So thank you guys very much, each and every one of you guys.
Hell yeah! And getting back to the fight card here, Krylov coming in against Rogerio de Lima, and I guess Brian Stan had a little running bet going, saying if Krylov didn't end this guy in the first round, he was going to dye his hair white. So,
it's a hilarious bet, too.
It is. But Krylov is just, look at this guy, man.
Krylov's awesome in the submission game, dude. He really is. He really is, man.
If he's getting his ass beat, it's in the first round. If he's winning or getting his ass beat, it's in the first round. But
well, I think he tried to come into UFC as a power striker or something, and he looked good like one time, and then since then it's like, dude, get the hell out of here, man. You're not a power striker in UFC heavyweight. But he comes on a light heavyweight, and it's like, dude, actually, you're looking pretty good here. You know what I mean? It looks pretty good. So,
19-4. So
yeah. I mean, nothing to be upset about, man. It looks good. And DeLima, I believe he's one of them guys from the Tough Show, from the Brazilian Tough Show. And he looked really, really good. So finishing this guy in the first round is nice, dude. A Brazilian guy in the first round, it looks good, man. So Krylov's really putting shit together at age 23, people. Age 23. That's ridiculous.
another youngster coming in here, and it's a little bit of a surprise, dude. But let me get to this fight card. We had Orantes coming in here against Yves Dubuin, and when this fight started off,
Felipe.
yeah, Yves was overpowering him. He was coming at him, man, and
Yves Dubuin's game, baby.
yeah, and Orantes just stayed calm. Felipe stayed calm, and Yves Dubuin overcommitted in his guard, and Felipe Orantes took the arm and got him in an armbar. So Yves Dubuin, we could see after, majorly disappointed. Another mistake. This is a lot of the times when Yves loses, he fucking fucks up, man. It's almost more mental with this guy sometimes. But, hats off to Felipe. We'll see where he goes. But turning our attention to a Sam Stout against a Frankie Perez. Hands of Stone Stout coming in was somebody that a Frankie Perez looked up to, as we found out after the fight.
Yeah.
But throwing some hands, and this is a classic case of getting beat to the punch. Okay? And Frankie Perez connected, and Sam Stout went down, and it was really Sam Stout was fucking basically out of it, dude. A couple follow-up punches, it was stopped. Frankie Perez gives major props up to Sam Stout, but also said, hey, I beat a guy I really looked up to. This is my last fight. I retire. So that was a little bit of a surprise there, bro.
Yeah, you know what, though? At the same time, it's like, I kind of don't really buy that just yet, because this guy's 26 years old. If he comes out 28 years old and says, you know what, I'm coming out of retirement, that's only 2 years away. He's still a very young dude. So he could be training people for these 2 years, still staying abreast of everything he needs to be doing, and still looking very fresh, and still looking really good. Because maybe it's a lot of time away from his family, and who knows? Maybe his wife's giving him some pressure. Who knows? I'm not saying that's what it is, but it could be.
It could be other things too. But there was a little disrespect coming out of Bisbing's mouth.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I almost forgot about that too, man. So I got to kind of scrape the brain, but he's like, in so many ways. I mean, as you guys know, Michael Bisping does with his mouth. But he's like, everybody's not cut out for the sport, so why don't he step aside and let the real men get in the game, and step aside and let the real men take care of the job.
Yeah.
There was more to it, but I can't recite it all.
Well, how about this, Mr. Bisping? How about my Reebok contract is so shitty, I'm not in the top tier, so I get shit money. I can't pay for the bills for my family, so I got to go get a real job. How about that? I got to go support my family. So can we look at it that way, Mr. Bisping?
Yeah.
Because that could be a good reason why he's stepping away. Like a lot of these other fighters are saying, it's just not cutting the mustard. These new Reebok contracts.
No, and it's that. You know what? I didn't think about that. That very well could be it. That could be a lot of it. It's like, well, I'm sorry, man. Fighting with the UFC, it's like, it's the big dog, it's the big shot. But it's like, if I'm gonna make, whatever, $800 a fight because I'm a newbie.
Even say, or like Frankie Perez made maybe $8,000. If he makes that 2-3 times a year, he can't support any.
That's nothing, man. Yeah, it's nothing. That's not even. That's like an $8 an hour job. Get out of here, man. He can't even. Yeah, get out of here, man.
Yeah.
It's
plus all my sponsors won't sponsor me no more because I can't show them on your TV anymore. I can't put my tapestry up behind me anymore. So
Right.
I lost all my sponsors.
Yeah.
But you made your money, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you made your money. Yep. But I mean, on the other side, man, I want to take a look at this. Sam Stout, man, I've been behind Sam Stout. I love the guy, man. I think he's been a good fighter, a strong dude, and he's done what he can do. But I think it's just, a lot of these guys are really getting ahead of him, getting past him, and there's something he's overlooking. Because I mean, right now he's 1-4. We've seen other guys at this point. It's like he needs to step away and really reassess things, to take a second look at things, because right now it should be cutsies with UFC, and he should really step back and really think to whether, well, this guy just beat me and this guy retired. Maybe I should take a step back. And like I said, man, I like Sam Stout. I've liked him for a long time because he's always been a gamer. We're talking about like a Sam Stout from 2004 on to 2010. I mean, yeah, we got some losses peppered in there. But, when you get up into 2014, 13, into 2015, there's a lot of losses, man. It really sucks. So I don't know who he's training with or what he's doing. Something's got to change here, man. If he's going to press forward, something's got to change. But I don't know. He's a 31-year-old guy. He shouldn't be done yet. So Team Tompkins, Syndicate MMA, I don't know what they're doing. Never heard of them either. So they're not a top gym, between the two of them. I don't know much about them. I'm still learning fighters too. We got a good knowledge going on this show, but
Yeah.
we're
Well,
learning just like anybody else. But it's Sam Stout. He's got to do something different right now, dude. There's no question, man. It's got to be something different. 20-12 right now. I mean, it does not look good.
Yeah. Well, moving ahead to Tony Sims going against hometown favorite, the Quebec kid,
Yeah,
Mount Mercer.
Mercier.
Yeah,
Mercier.
Mercier.
Fucking man.
Sorry, my French isn't that good.
No, it's a rough name though, dude. It is, because
Yeah.
I jack that dude's name up all the time, man.
Well, he's coming in, and this guy is just known for a Fitch, in my opinion, a Fitch kind of fighter. He's going to grind you against the cage. He's going to keep trying to take you down. He's going to try to ultimately go for the submission. Okay.
You're talking about Mercier.
Yeah. That's his style. And what was after he had taken out Sims, he basically, or they have said at the post-fight thing with frickin' Bisbing and Dominic Cruz, that they're probably going to match him up with a guy that's not easy to take down. You know what I'm saying? So he's
play
going
against his strengths. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to match him up with somebody that's going to give you a little bit of a problem here. So he's might have to change up his game plan a little bit. I don't know, but I don't see this guy being a top tier guy personally. I think he's going to have to work on the striking aspect of it. If not, he's just going to have to be a superior takedown guy. But I don't see that happening. So we'll see what's happening with him going forward.
Well, he's only 7-1, so I mean, I give him a little bit of credit, but I mean, his past loss in 2014, about a year and a half ago, was to Chad Laprise, which just took a loss to another fellow on this record tonight, or another fellow on this card tonight. So I mean, it's not like he's in there losing, or he's not in there beating like all these top guys. He's still a fresh dude. So he's got to be learning some good stuff. I mean, think about it. Tony Sims, David Michaud, Jake Lindsay, like I said, Chad Laprise, which also lost tonight too. Then the rest, I mean, I don't even know who the hell these guys are. The guy's only 4 fights in the UFC. And he's 7-1, so it's no reason to really. He lost his first fight in UFC. He's won the last 3 against virtual brand newbies. So I like what he's been doing, but it's like, yeah, I agree, man. You got to really learn. But he's still brand new in the game. 26 years old too. So I give the guy some good credit. The guy did a good job. Got the win. He did what he had to do, man. So, against a guy that's 12-3 as well. So, but getting back to it, man. I don't want to derail, but I want to at least point that out. I wanted to at least point that out. the guy's done a good job. You know, being at 7-1. 7-1 is very inexperienced. I don't give a shit what anybody says, man. I mean, Brock Lesnar. I mean, let's look at it. Brock Lesnar was very experienced as a wrestler, but as an MMA fighter, he was very inexperienced. He's 5-3 and he quit. So people, you know, as much as everybody loves him, he was very inexperienced as a MMA fighter. And his second fight in MMA was UFC, and his third fight in MMA was for the fucking title shot of UFC. So how fucking stupid was that career? Fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm sorry, man. I derailed. I face planted after that, and I apologize, but
it was in the overall. It was in the best interest. It wasn't agreeable on that him.
It was the best interest of UFC money for sure. Yeah,
because UFC 100 or whatever was fucking
the biggest grossing pay-per-view there has been. Yeah. So yeah, they made their money on it, man. We're the fools. So they made their money. We're the idiots. So, but
yeah, if you're doing ranking math, he shouldn't even been sniffing a fucking title shot. But
no, absolutely right, man. Well said. So.
But a guy that also is probably when he was done and went to his locker, he had his walking paper pink slip waiting for him after his 6th loss in a row. Josh Berkman, People's Warrior. And he got knocked out by a guy that isn't known for knockouts. And, hey, it's a tough road. Josh Berkman, bye-bye. I don't see Josh Berkman coming back, sorry, after 6 losses in a row. I know it would have been 7, but the one with Lombard pissing dirty got no contested. So, but still,
it was a good fucking fight, though. I think it was a really good fight, man.
It was, and that's what he needed to do here. And he pretty much was doing okay, but he got caught. He got caught. We got fucking put out. So, shit happens. You know, nobody's going to be. You know, you're not a good enough fighter for them to be coddling you, in my opinion, and giving you another chance. I just think that was his last fight in the UFC.
It's 0 wins, 2 losses, and 1 no contest in UFC competition. I mean, I'm not laughing at it, but it's like, yeah, it's actually laughable because it's funny because you never hear about that. But I mean, Josh Berkman, obviously, he did a good job in this fight. I'm not taking nothing away from him. 27-12. The guy's good at what he does, but there was a lot of parts in this fight where he was acting like he was Anderson Silva. He had his hands down, and he was acting foolish. You know, I'm not giving all the praise to a Patrick Cote, but Patrick Cote's a tough dude, man. He's a very tough dude. You know, and we've seen that of his last couple. You know, his last 5 fights, we've seen that. Now 6 fights. You know, his last 6 fights, he's lost once to Stephen Thompson.
Yeah.
You know, Stephen Thompson.
23-9.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing to be. You know, there's nothing to be upset about. So, I mean, we're talking Alessio Sakara, Bobby Volker, Kyle Noak. Like I said, the loss to Stephen Thompson. The rest of these are wins. Joe Riggs and Josh Berkman. So 6-1 his last 6, or excuse me, 5-1 his last 6 fights. And
Cote is known for a knockout guy, but he hasn't done it of late, you know.
Yeah,
so
I
just want to correct myself on that.
No, yeah, he's not a super huge knockout dude, but he's known for a decent ground game. You know, a decent ground game. He's mostly stay in the pocket with you. You know, kind of a decision guy. You know, the majority of his wins are decisions. Well, I mean, 9 knockouts, 9 decisions. You know what I mean? A couple submissions in there too. So I mean, he's a well-rounded dude, man. He's a well-rounded dude, and he's a vet. He's 35 years old, so he's still got a lot of piss and vinegar in him. And to me personally, I think Josh does too. But you may be right about the Josh Berkman thing, because it's like, dude, you're 4 fights in, and you haven't even scratched anything yet. There's no surface being scratched here. It really kind of does look bad, because it's like you got no, I'm sorry, not even 4 fights in. 3 fights in. 0-2 in UFC right now. This stint, anyway. Because, I mean, he was in UFC years ago. But, I mean, we're talking about a guy that goes all the way back to 2003. So, I mean, this guy started fighting in February 7th, 2003 was his first fight. So, I mean, this guy's been in the game. We're talking, going on 13 years here. So, pay the guy some respects for Brent's sake, But yeah, it doesn't look good, and I agree. Maybe it could be back to World Series of Fighting, or maybe even Bellator. Who knows? But I wouldn't be surprised if UFC hung on to him just to make him a stepping stone for guys. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. But I don't want to hijack anything else, man. So let's press forward, man.
But a surprising, because I had this fight going another way, just because of what Damian Maia did to Neil Magny. Just controlled him on the ground. Ended up taking him out. Dude, Neil Magny, fucking 180-degree turn here, man. Looked like a different Neil Magny. Totally controlled an Eric Silva, who we now know an Eric Silva, if he can't get you out of there in the first round,
no,
this guy's fucking cardio starts stinking up the joint in the second round, dude. Yeah. No, not the third round, in the second round. Yeah, fucking hair mopping everywhere, freaking. This was an easy fight for Neil Magny, and at the end of the whole damn thing, I don't know, just like what Brian Stan said, I don't know what that one judge was thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it should have been all across the board. Neil Magny, he beat the shit out of Eric Silva. The one shining moment in Eric Silva's career, to me, is him almost taking out a Matt Brown, and then that was his bright spot, almost taking out a Matt Brown, who then turned the tables on his ass
and
fucking said, welcome to the jungle, bitch. We're going into the third round. Can you hang? Which you can't. Yeah. Folded his ass like a lawn chair. So
there was another point that I thought that they made that was really solid when it comes to Eric Silva, and that is none other than Damian Maia. Eric Silva, I'm sorry. I got mad props for you. I got respect for you. But you are no Damian Maia. Because Eric Silva came into this fight thinking that he was going to beat Neil Magny like Damian Maia did.
And we thought that too. I did, at least.
I thought it would have been a tough test. I'm not even sure what my pick was, to be honest with you. I don't even remember, but forgive me for that. But Eric Silva coming in here, though, I didn't really even think of that. I think it was Brian Stan that mentioned that, and I thought, you know what? You're exactly right. Eric Silva's coming in here thinking that he's going to be a Damian Maia. No, dude, you're not even close to what Damian Maia is, dude. You're not even anywhere near the ground game of Damian Maia. Yeah, not even the same ballpark, dude. Get the fuck out of here. So, Neil Magny, played his cards right, man, and outlasted him, really.
Yeah,
what Neil Magny is good with, all the shit that Neil Magny is good with, with, ground defense. I shouldn't even say ground defense because he really had nothing with a Damian Maia. But it's the lack of professionalism when it comes to Eric Silva. It's not that he's that bad. It's just he's not he's not as good as he thinks he is. Mm-hmm. Eric Silva is actually started out his career great on the feet and was knocking people out in UFC. This dude, all of a sudden, from one day to the next, thought he was this, amazing ground game, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu professional. And it's like, no, you're not, dude.
Yeah, those telegraphed fucking roundhouses that you were fucking trying to land on a lengthy, tall Neil Magny, it was not happening, bro.
Yeah, those were there, too. Holy shit, I saw a few of those. It's like, holy shit. I think he really was puffing his chest out, thinking that, you know what, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take control of this guy, just like my, my fellow Brazilian. I'm going to make short work of this guy.
I'm going to do my normal first take him out in the first round.
Yeah.
Like he's done. If you look at all his shit, dude, look at all his stuff. He's beaten every one of his wins are in the first round. Which tells us as soon as he goes on into the second, or farther than the second round, either he doesn't train for it, or to me, he just doesn't train for it because he has, like you said, in his mind, he's going to pull a Damian Maia, get the guy. He already has kind of like a Frank Mir mentality. He's already got this fight fucking won before he stepped in the cage, bro. Yeah. And when his fucking game plan went to shit, we seen it. He looked confused in there to me. Right. After a while, he was just confused, you know.
Yeah, confused. Yeah, confused and just absolutely lost because it's like,
The
yeah.
game plan went out the shitter. I don't even think Neil Magny in the post-fight interview had any abrasions on his face, bro.
No, I mean there was a couple of spots where I thought it looked like a good fight, but it's like Neil Magny, I mean, really just kind of when there was a lot, there's a lot of back and forth going on in this fight. I got to say that. I got to give Eric Silva a little bit of credit in this fight, but it's just
It was the peppering of the shots, I think, won it from Magny.
Yeah, the offense of Eric Silva really wasn't there. This guy, the offense that this guy used to have is gone. He's either riding one fence or the other. It's like I'm either a top striker or I'm a top submission guy. He can't distinguish between the two. It's like, stop it, dude. And this is a perfect example because and especially with his cardio, he got rode out in the 3 and he lost to it. So I don't know, man. Neil Magny, though, man, showed a lot of toughness coming off of that loss to Damian Maia, man. And he came back after what? Not even 2 months or whatever it was. Yeah, let's take a look at Neil Magny here real quick, man. Just click away here, man.
Magny is on a nice little fucking run, bro. Before that loss to a Damian Maia, he was on a 7-win streak. So he's starting his winning ways back up again. But
yeah, dude, he's 8-2 in his last 10, man. That's big.
But I have concerns about a Neil Magny with some of these higher tier guys. Neil Magny might get a little exposed. Yeah,
the ground game's going to be nasty, brother.
Not only that, there's some superior strikers. There's going to be people better than a fucking William Panalino or an Alex Garcia. He's going to be getting up with this win. I think his next fight is going to be a true test.
Yeah, he's going to win over Tim Means too, man. That's nice. That's great, dude. That's fucking nice. I mean? I love that. Tim Means, I love that dude, man. But he just took a loss to Matt Brown. But a little side rail going on there. But
he said he had 4 days of a true training camp, dude, to train for Eric Silva.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. 28 years old, man. Nothing to be upset about, man. 16-4. It's beautiful, man. Guys doing an awesome job right now. Keep learning. Keep being the sponge, man.
Yep.
Dude looks great. So
that's the new wave fighters to me, man. It's the guys that just fucking they're never satisfied. They just want to put a new aspect, to their game every time they can, so.
Yeah. Can't take that loss too hard, man. You got to just move on and get past it, man.
Neil Magny is one guy to keep your eye peeled for. He's a young gun, up-and-comer, so.
Yeah, how about that fucking main event? My gosh, dude. What the hell is that about?
Man. I don't know, but coming in here, man, I was kind of stoked to see this, I was kind of curious. Max Holloway just freaking lighting up the freaking scene right now, dude. Just lighting it up, man. Take it. I think he opened up some major eyes, taking out a freaking a Cub Swanson, dude. Submitting to Cub Swanson,
Yeah.
Basically, that whole fight, man, he showed his superior striking, man, especially the gut punches. He was even showing these gut punches starting out with Oliveira, man. He gets behind those things, man.
Yeah.
He's got some stink on them son of bitches.
Holloway's a badass. I love Holloway, man. Holloway's been on a tragic run right now since losing to Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor having all that shit behind him, you know what I mean? And just looking like the nastiest badass there is.
7 fights in a row, bro.
Yeah, it's awesome. Holloway, I think Holloway has what it takes to be a champion. Dude, the guy's 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
23 years old. 14-3 right now, with this new win. Like I said, his last loss was to Conor McGregor. He's a whole different fighter since that fight. People, man, make no mistake about it, man. He lost that fight in 2013, beat Will Chop in January in 2014, and since then has been a 7-fight win streak. It's ridiculous. And the guy's facing, what is he, number, I think before tonight he was number 4?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Charles Oliveira, make no mistake about Oliveira either, man. Oliveira's been 20-5. He's more experienced. You know what I mean? But we all know that doesn't mean shit right now.
Especially when you're looking at he lost against the Cub Swanson and a Frankie Edgar, and
Right.
I think after this fight, frickin' Max Holloway called out Frankie Edgar. Said, let's do a Frankie Edgar fight in Hawaii. So
yeah, he did. And that, I'll tell you, and I got to pay major respects to that. It's like, okay, so you got your guys tied up, you got Conor McGregor tied up in a situation where Conor McGregor doesn't even fight at the end of it. Okay, so whatever. They're going to be tied up for whatever it is, the next year or whatever it is. So yeah, give me a fight. And he calls out the guy that they would have had.
And the winner out of those two would automatically, I think that's a contenders match right there, actually.
Should be, man. Should be. If he beats Frankie Edgar, you can't deny him the rematch.
No.
You can't deny a Conor McGregor Max Holloway rematch. Or a two, I should say, not a rematch, but a part two. You can't deny him that.
And before I want to touch on the him, maybe do a little preview real quick of what I think about the Frankie Edgar versus a Max Holloway. In this fight against an Oliveira, man, we could see, like I said, he was just had some stink behind those gut punches, man. But when Oliveira was doing any kind of kicks or any kind of punches, freaking Holloway was out of there, dude.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a young Machida, kind of just floating back, and it's just like, and getting into this, before we get into the injury part, like I said, Frankie Edgar and him, this is like a collision course. It wasn't like him biting off more than he could chew. This, even if you wouldn't have called this fight, this is the fight that needs to happen.
I would have to say Frankie Edgar in that fight, but at the same time, I it's a Max Holloway that could probably pull that off, man. This guy's looks so good, but we haven't seen him at that level yet. You know what I mean? We haven't seen him at the level of a Frankie Edgar. Who else would we really say, because he's beat a Cub Swanson, Oliveira. Oliveira's fought Cub Swanson, Frankie Edgar. He's fought a lot. If you really think about it, Charles Oliveira has fought a lot tougher competition than Max Holloway has, but it was a lot earlier on. It was a couple of years ago. So these days, we're talking about Hatsu Hayoki, Jeremy Stevens, Nick Lentz. Those are all wins. He lost to Max Holloway tonight. Which, you know what? I'm not gonna take anything away from with the injury. For all we know, that was an injury he had in training camp.
Max Holloway did beat Akira Corsani, who's.
Oh yeah, I'm not taking nothing away from Max either, man. This is an absolute total mishap. This just sucks. This is nothing taken away from either fighter, in my opinion, man. I mean, Tanya even mentioned, a huge friend of the show, she even mentioned that, Oliveira looked like he had no anguish, no pain, nothing on his. If he had a pinched nerve, because they talked about it being a pinched nerve. If he had some kind of a pinched nerve, we know how to pinched nerve feels. And I'm like, well, wait a minute though. I mean, I'm not in there fucking fighting guys. I don't know how to put on a game face like Charles Oliveira does. 20-5. I don't know how to put that game face on. So Charles Oliveira can easily put on a game face and say, yeah, this fucking really hurts. But his face doesn't show that he's really hurt.
Well, like I was saying too, he could have the injury could be such as he injured it beforehand, but he's just used to doing everyday things with it, not stressing it any. But as soon as he gets into a fight, he tweaks it, bam, it's re-injured, because it's not all the way healed.
Right. No.
Because I looked at the replay, man, and it's like where the only spot he could have done it is when he was driving Holloway into the fence, and might have tweaked his shit against, they landed against the fence weird. It's just, It was really weird because a collarbone, you're going to have to take out collarbone because a collarbone, you're going to have some big time force to snap that motherfucker. That narrows it down to either, like you're saying, a pinched nerve or a freaking pulled muscle or something.
When I was a kid, I landed on my head. That was the only thing that busted my collarbone. I landed on my head, and my head went to the side. I think my head hit my shoulder and busted my collarbone. That's just kind of speculation, you know. I mean, I don't know how it actually happened.
But that's some major force that happened there, you know.
Right. I fell from a distance and landed on my head. So I mean, you know, it wasn't a huge. It was about a story up. You know, I landed on my head and my head drove into my left collarbone and it busted busted my collarbone. But so yeah, I mean that tells you if you break something like that, or even you know, like they said collarbone right away,
Mm-hmm.
and then a little while later they said, oh, pinched nerve. Well, I mean, pinched. If you get a chiropractor in there, maybe you might be able to figure out that it's a pinched nerve like right away. If you say, oh, well, does this hurt? Does this hurt? Does this hurt? This guy's pushing on points of your back or some points of your spine or whatever. You know, I don't see how they can figure that out that fast without getting a chiropractor in there. You know, or you know, or a decent doctor that isn't against a chiropractor, because we know how that goes. So maybe he could have been injured probably 2 weeks ago, and then a couple days goes by and it starts to feel better. But as soon as he gets into fight motion, it might have re-agitated it. We get just one of them fucked up nights where it's one of them things that nobody can answer, and it pisses everybody off. But it's like we're just forced to just move on and forget about it. It sucks. It really does suck. But that's just the way it is. It's one of them. It's one of them things you can't just.
We might hear some fucking shit out of. We've heard that before. Fucking Oliveira may have been injured before fight. You know, we've heard all this shit before, and
it's the human
you know,
body, though. We're not going to answer every question.
No,
You know what I mean?
but I'm saying from the aspect of UFC trying to push the fucking card forward, make it happen.
Oh,
You know,
well, yeah.
no dropouts.
UFC
Fucking,
aspect, sure.
you know, we've seen Calvin Gastelum have to fight after coming home back from being in the hospital an hour before the fight, you know, or whatever. You know, so we're not going to put it past them to do that. That's why as soon as it happened, and it's kind of like a fluke thing, you call these things into question just because of their history.
Right. And no, like you're saying too, UFC will go ahead and put a band-aid on this and call it whatever they want to call it, whether it's the truth or not. I don't, you know, which
I just have to watch the replay some more, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, really, we're not going to get to the end of it. You know, we're just going to kind of, you know, as the normal public does, is what I'm saying. You know, UFC is going to patch it up to whatever they want to patch it up as, and we're either going to buy it or we're not going to buy it. So it's just, it's kind of ridiculous in my opinion. It's like, on some sides of it, you can almost say, you know, well, Oliveira, dude, you have a game face. You've been in here a long time. You know, either you're going to finish out this fight, or it's so effing excruciating that he just could not continue. And none of us will ever know. You know, we just will not know. So, but this guy, being that he goes to the floor at this position, being that he goes to the floor like that, like he did, and says, you know, basically with his body language says no more, to me that says either he was in serious pain or at least knew that he could not do what he's supposed to do and did not want to compete in a fight that he could not fully be full, you know, to full advantage. Not advantage, but to 100%. You know, if he can't fight 100%, I don't blame him one bit. He should be able to be in there and fight 100%. Max Holloway would say the same thing. If the guy can't fight 100%, I don't want to fight him. I'm sure he would say that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at as in the Charles Oliveira. It's like if you can't fight 100%, there's no reason to keep going on. I don't care what anybody says, man. You can't fight 100%. In my opinion, you know, some guys would say, you know what, fuck it, just go through it and do it. Other guys, it's like, you know what, dude, take the loss because there's no reason to go in there and get your fucking ass smashed because you're 60% of what you should be. And you know, there's a lot of points where I gotta agree with that.
No.
I don't think Charles Oliveira was scared one bit. I think the guy's legitimately hurt. And
my question at least, was he hurt before the fight? You know, because I didn't see anything there really.
I think that's it, man. I think you're right on with that.
Because I just seen a picture of the weigh-in, and he's only putting up his right arm, his other arm, you know, like a fist. You know how they stand in front of each other and put both of their fists up.
Yeah.
He just has his right arm up and the other arm's just hanging. So I'm trying to look more into it, dude. So
No, and you're right on for doing so. I mean, that's what you do. That's what we do. That's what we look for. Because we saw Lyoto Machida, barely putting his arm up and then wincing once he took his shirt off at the weigh-ins, and then he ended up losing that fight. I think it was the fight before Luke Rockhold. He was wincing in pain taking his shirt off. It's like, some people look at it that way, but I was kind of like, I don't really know. I'm not really sure.
And that's another thing. You start, the weigh-ins can have a telltale sign, and you might want to start watching weigh-ins a little bit more to look for signs like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I love watching post-fight press conferences. It also tells you the fighter's mindset well after the fight, because sometimes after the fight, like a Cormier, sounds like a real asshole. We've seen it. And then when you get to the post fight, he'll pay a little bit of respects, and then the day after, he sounds like an asshole again. And then he just proved himself to be a complete asshole. But that's just me. I'm not a huge fan of Cormier. I was a big fan of Cormier when we're talking the tail end of Strikeforce.
Yeah, so was I before they put a mic in front of his face a lot.
Yeah, and then when he started proving things in Strikeforce, this guy looks great, man. I love it, man. This guy's awesome. He gets in UFC, starts winning a couple fights, and then gets a mic in front of him and starts acting like a bonehead, and and it's all over.
Complete tool bag.
Loses and still calls himself a winner. Yeah, get out of here, dude. Whatever. But but no, I mean, mad props for me to actually a good night of fights, man. I was actually surprised.
Yeah.
If I want to run down this card, man, I'm just to before we duck out of here, man, just to pay a little bit of respects, man. Letourneau looked, both this fight went back and forth and back and forth. This is Letourneau and Marina Moroz.
Yeah.
Letourneau came out strong, and then Moroz came back a little bit in the second round. Started had Letourneau on her heels, starting to look like she was going to get knocked out, and then Letourneau turned it around. We've been watching this chick a little bit here and there, man, for the last probably year or so, dude, and she pulls out a nice win against a chick that was calling out the champion, 6 months ago. So
yeah, the other chick got put on her ass too in that one.
You talking about Moroz?
Yeah, she got.
Yeah. I mean, it was a decision win, man. But Moroz, she got pretty beat up on this one. But it was a good fight, man. It was a great fight. It really was a good fight. Sam Stout, it's like, I don't know what to do with this guy at this point. I like him a lot, man. You know what, man? If you're going to continue, go down to a lower league and test yourself. Go down to a lower league and to different trainers, too. That's what I have to say. At least go to different trainers first. But Felipe Arantes, awesome win, dude. Awesome win. But some of these earlier guys for tonight, two new guys. We're talking about Mishka Kirkunov taking on Daniel Jolly. Two new light heavyweight dudes. Misha, which I think I said Mishka, but I believe it's a Russian dude. Misha, which this could be Misha's cousin. I don't know, Misha Tate's cousin, but no, I'm just kidding. Well, Misha Kirkunov knocking out Daniel Jolly first round. This dude had every submission out the bag against Daniel Jolly. This dude is not only a badass on his feet, in a light heavyweight division, but this dude has sick submissions coming out of a very fit, pumped up dude. And he looks great on the ground, and he's obviously we already showed he knocked out his opponent tonight. So I'm pumped up about the dude. But Shane Campbell, winning his fight, as we talked about earlier, man. Nikita Krylov, dude, the guy looks awesome right now. Felipe Arantes. So yeah, it was a cool night, man. We weren't expecting much from this card. I'm not gonna lie, people. We actually kind of shit on this card a little bit, and
proved us wrong. We love it.
Yeah, you know what? And these cards that keep proving us wrong, it's awesome, man. But you know what? When we think they're going to be shit, we'll tell you we're going to be shit. But you know what? There's a lot of cards that we predict they're going to be shit, and they are. And you know what? I'm telling you right now, man. When it comes to a UFC But I'm telling you right now, when it comes to a UFC card like a Holly Holm versus a Ronda Rousey, make no mistake about it, people. It's going to be a toilet paper, ass-wiping bullshit card, and do not fucking buy it. I'm telling you right now, do not buy it, because we need to set an example with UFC. Let the prices, let the payments that we make to these people set a standard. You want to put on toilet paper, ass-wiping bullshit, Charmin card, Shart fart card, then you know what? That's what you're going to get from us. You're not going to get shit worth payment from it. So that's what you want to put on. That's what you get. You get no money from us. So, dude, you got all kinds of shit going out there, dude. We got the sound effects going on. But, hey, man, you know, we got all kinds of bullshit coming out every direction from all kinds of bullshit cards from UFC. So stop paying for them. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying in the last minute or so. Stop paying for bullshit cards. Because we
they're going to put on more bullshit cards.
Exactly. So let's stop paying for them, and then we can set an example and set a standard. Put out a good card, or we're not paying for it no more. So
and speaking of good cards, I'd have to say they did a good job over here in Canada. Saskatchewan was treated to some good fights. A little anticlimactic, like they say at the end, but overall, these guys put it out there.
Saskatoon, baby.
And Eric Silva, fucking hit the streets, man. Get some cardio going.
Get some cardio. Josh Berkman, get some punch defense. No, I'm kidding. No. But anyway, man, it was a good night, people. Man, I hope you guys enjoy the show, man. We appreciate the support big time, man. But steadfast, brother.
God, beer.
All right, people, thanks for tuning in, man. It was a blast. Don't forget to check us out, MMA Aftermath on Facebook, MMA Aftermath on Twitter, also Illegal Elbow on Twitter.
And head on over to illegalelbow.com. Check out the top 20 heavyweight list and the heavyweight forecast and all the extras and new stuff that Brian's been putting on. That's illegalelbow.com, people.